Son's father is angry I have a baby monitor in my 6-year-old's room. I put a baby monitor in my 6-year-old son's room in September. I did this because my son had an extreme asthma attack in the middle of the night. He went limp, eyes rolled back, was pale and shaking, and his breathing was very loud. I only woke up because he let out one cry and then said, "I can't breathe." Before going completely out of it, I called 911 obviously, and he had to be rushed to the hospital. He needed lots of emergency breathing treatments. I could not sleep well for a long time afterwards. I kept thinking what would have happened if I didn't wake up. Now, because of living arrangements in my home, my bedroom is downstairs and not next to his. So I put a baby monitor in his room. It isn't a camera one, only a sound monitor. I can't sleep if I can't hear him and know that he is okay. My son lives with me primarily. He sees his father on the weekends. His father is angry because he says I am being overprotecting and crazy. He says how he is almost 7 and doesn't need a baby monitor and that it's borderline pervy. I tried explaining how I would rather be overprotective than wake up to a dead child because they had an asthma attack and I didn't hear them. The pervy claim is beyond me also. He is a 6-year-old, it isn't like he is 16. I also let my son know I can hear him. He knows there is a monitor and he knows why. His sister is 1, so I also have a baby monitor in her room. That one has a camera. I feel upset and misunderstood. I also feel like his dad isn't as concerned about what happened as he should be. He is under the impression doctors don't know what they're doing and just want to push drugs. My son's asthma has landed him in the doctors many times and we are trying desperately to get it better. He is missing out on things because he gets winded so quickly and it breaks my heart. His father is currently facing his 6th domestic abuse charge. I only let my son go to his house on the weekends because it was more so my son's grandma and grandpa watching him. Now that his father is living with a friend, I will not allow him to go see him. I'm thinking about going to court again and making it so it has to be supervised visits. Even though he is facing these charges. He physically abused me, my mom, his GF after me, and now his uncle. He still is harassing me over this. Legally right now I cannot deny him visits, but I am going to go to court to try and change that. This baby monitor has me in a spin because he is threatening to call CPS because it makes me a perv. Yeah, don't take advice from the domestic abuser. You are protecting your son. Go back to court. Let him call CPS. They won't find an error with you protecting a medically fragile child. My teen has asthma and actually sleeps on a couch in my room when it's peak allergy season or he's feeling rough because he knows he might need help and be unable to call out. Asthma can be rough. I will say that my son has gotten much better as he's gotten older. Go to court ASAP. Don't let his ranting into your head, which is much easier said than done. But your child needs to get help when he can barely whisper and you need to sleep. The monitor is absolutely reasonable. Haha, he's threatening to call the cops over a monitor? Please, please, please encourage him to do this. And then slap him with a malicious persecution claim. The monitor is 100% fine. You're doing the right thing. Had you chosen to co-sleep with your son because of this, that would also have been fine. Take this jerk to court. Strip him of all visitation. And stop telling him anything related to your son. He's abusive and incompetent. Let him call CPS and you keep copies of the hospital visits and show them the monitor. They will not have a problem with that. Please get supervised visits for your son's time with dad. He is already an abuser. His father is currently facing his 6th domestic abuse charge. He's not a guy I'd take advices from. Definitely fight for no supervised visits and meantime F his opinion. You're doing what any good mom would do. A domestic abuser is hardly a reliable source of parenting advice. Let him call the cops, CPS. They will laugh him out of the station. I would say the baby monitor is the least of your worries. It's a non-issue. Just ignore your ex on this. Focus on his abuse charges and try to get full custody of your child. It's really a matter of life and death. You are protecting your kid because he has uncontrolled asthma. Sometimes OT takes a while to get kids on the right balance of meds, and sometimes just getting bigger and stronger will help their breathing. You are doing the right thing for now. The monitor is probably something to re-evaluate frequently. As for his dad, getting into court and showing his documented violent history is also the right thing to do. You are doing the right thing. I would do the same re-baby monitor. I would also be trying to delimit any time with dad as much as possible if he doesn't take your kid's medical condition seriously. It really sounds like he does not. Your job is to keep your kids safe. Keep doing it. Your husband sounds like the pervy one. Why wouldn't he want you to keep an eye out for your son in his bedroom? Stay safe. I might consider getting some kind of button that says help. Pet buttons also do this, so that if he cannot make a noise you will still hear it. Or something that will wake you up out of a sound sleep, like a watch that vibrates that you can both wear. It would likely be safer to be alarmed awake than for you to be always listening out for a possible breathing issue. CPS might take one look. But given his record and that you have multiple medical visits, I would not expect them to take any notice of his opinion that monitoring breathing is anything other than being proactive. Back to court, because he has already said he doesn't believe in drugs, and that puts your son at major risk when he cannot afford to be at risk at all. You cannot afford to ignore the risk that being around him could impact your son's health. Perhaps even your son has a phone on visits so he can press a button to get help. One of my family members has a son with epilepsy. They have a baby monitor in his room, too. He's 12. They just turn it on at night, and he gets privacy the rest of the time. Your son is younger, so the privacy needs are obviously different. But you aren't infringing on anything. I don't know a lot about monitoring children with medical needs, but this doesn't sound out of the ordinary to me. Your husband isn't someone I'd go to for parenting advice. You shouldn't either. Why are you listening to someone who's a domestic abuser? He clearly has no idea about raising a child. I would do the same. I have monitor in my 3-year-old's room just because I want to see she's okay if I hear something. Can you try to get an oxygen monitor? Like Owlet or something like that? It'll ping your phone if his oxygen drops. And might be a better warning than a baby monitor. And give you peace of mind so you can sleep better. That said, it's not weird or pervy to have a monitor to keep track of your son's health. It's not like you're trying to violate his privacy. And it's just audio. Also, I lost my cousin in his 20s due to an asthma attack. It happened in the middle of the night and my aunt found him later. He was alive but brain dead. So, I don't think you're overreacting at all. My aunt never recovered from it. Hell, I'd be sleeping in the same room as the kid if I had gone through that. My 2-year-old is being treated for asthma. And that definitely is not something to play around with. Why do you care what someone who has abuse charges says? If you have full custody and he isn't entitled to anything, then stop communicating with him. Why do you have to talk to him exactly? You can only use one of those co-parenting apps that save every conversation and just ignore him when he says dumb stuff. Also, don't give him any information because he is abusive and will just twist anything to abuse. You aren't doing anything creepy. Let him call CPS. Make sure you have full custody of your kids and he isn't entitled to anything. Also, he should be paying child support. Look into getting a restraining order as well. You said in a comment he was violent. Lol, when I was 23 my parents put a sound one in my room because I had a medical condition, rolling on the floor laughing. Sound only is fine. I hated having it there, but I also understood that I had traumatized my parents, so figured it was fair to leave it there for a bit. You're trying to keep your son alive, and he is at an age where it's not too much of an invasion of privacy. He knows it's there. You love him and your actions come from that. This definitely falls into the category of, don't listen to criticism from someone you wouldn't go to for advice. I imagine if he is currently facing another DV charge, this would be the time to bring up supervised visits. You don't need to worry about CPS. They will understand your reasoning for a baby monitor in his room. Also, you are right. Your son is 6, not 16. I'm not sure about the laws where you live, but I know in my state if a parent has a reason to believe their child is in immediate danger, they can withhold visitation from the other parent while awaiting court intervention. I would check with a family law attorney on this. It sounds like you have plenty of proof he is violent. Not to mention his criminal history speaks for itself. I'm sorry you have to deal with him, but I'm happy you were able to get yourself and your kids away from him. You need to get the courts to deny him unsupervised visits. He's on his 6th DV charge. Just because he hasn't beaten your child yet doesn't mean he won't. He's already not taking your son's health seriously. As far as the CPS threats, let him call. They'll come out and find that there's nothing wrong. You're a mother who has a child with a severe medical condition. You're just making sure your child is protected.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Ericast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.